Hey, it's Tom from Green Shorts, and it's been a minute. Not even sure when my last video, real video, project video went up, but I think it might have been January. Today, I'm getting back into the project builds. And I'm sitting back here by my Solider Fly Larvae composter. Some boys active in there right now. And I'm starting out here today because it's time for a new design. I actually teased this design probably over a year ago now. I intended to do it last fall, the end of the summer, but it was getting too cold. Solider Fly Larvae here in Georgia are only active when it's above 70 degrees consistently. And so they were moving into their dormant stage. So I didn't want to start a new idea, a new system if it wasn't going to be able to be seen in operation. However, things are gearing back up. The larvae are active again. The adults are flying around laying eggs, and it's a perfect time to do a new design. Part of the reason I want to do a new design is because this is pretty complicated. It took me 45 minutes to explain this build in a video, and then I did a simple one, and that turned out to be pretty complicated as well. So my goal for today's video is to build a simple black Solider Fly Larvae composter that any of you could build. I am going to use this particular catch bin in my new design. So I'll move these guys to the other side and bring this along. So the body of the composter is going to be made from these two trash cans. One 11.3 lift top trash can and I'm not even sure what size this is. Of course, I'm going to build the frame to fit these specs. The main deal is this thing's going to be leaning over the top of the smaller trash can. Compost is going to go in here. The Solider Fly Larvae will crawl up and out, drop into the catch basin when they're ready to be harvested. And I'm going to build the frame for this out of Tinktube. I'm actually using some Tinktube that I disassembled from a previous project, which is one thing that's really nice about this system is that you can reuse the stuff. Tinktube has been a partner of my channel for a long time. They sponsored the camper build, which isn't finished yet, and I'm actually an affiliate with them. I like to think of Tinktube as my adult Tinker Toys. In addition to the pipes, I'm going to be using several different kinds of connectors as well, which all bolt together with hex nuts. I'm not exactly sure which of these connectors I'm going to use yet, but I'll put a final parts list in the description below. The Tinktube system works around this 1-inch steel pipe, which they supply in 92-inch lengths. But they also have an adapter that allows it to be converted to work with a 3/4 inch conduit. So you could potentially pick up the conduit at the local hardware store and just order all the brackets. Of course, you could also build this frame with wood or even PVC pipe. I think that would work as well. The Tinktube pipe is cut with this pipe cutter and assembled with this hex wrench. They also have a reamer which will knock down the sharp edges of the cut pipe. I'm also going to use this box knife to cut the plastic. So the first dimension I need to think about is the right angle for the compost bin. It needs to be no greater than 40 degrees of rise. That's the maximum that a Solider Fly Larvae can climb. It also needs to be high enough off the ground that I have clearance to drop into the catch bin. Of course, I'm going to position my trash can so the lid opens up like this. That'll prevent rainwater from getting in there. I think I can get my slant element and the leg out of this same piece. Cut these up. I'm going to do two 14-inch legs, and this one already has a plug in the end like this. I'm just going to leave that in there, work from here.
For the frame, I'm going to go with a three-legged stool concept. These two legs will be the top of the frame with one longer leg underneath the trash can as it goes to the ground. I think this three-legged frame should be stable enough. I'm going to go for 13 inches wide on this, and that will allow the smaller trash can to sit in between the legs. So I just need two small sections of pipe to go across the top here. Looks like about 3 inches each ought to do it. A couple of really nice features about the Tinktube connectors is that there's a little channel in here that when you sit the nut in, it actually locks it in place. So you just have to hold it while you thread in the bolt from the other side. It's really nice. Another feature is that the two halves go together like this, so you can kind of build it around the pipe instead of having to slide it in from the end, which can be tricky. I'm going to start from the middle here and go outward. There's also about a 1/4 inch of play in these connectors as to where the pipe can go. So either here or here, which lets you have some flexibility in adjusting things after your pipe's been cut. I'm gonna go ahead and put this pipe in, even though I'm not sure of the length yet. I'm pretty sure I have enough for what I need, and I can make that cut off after it's assembled. More than a couple turns, and this thing really wants to clamp down. Going less than 40 is okay as well. The benefit of that is that I would get more surface area in the trash can. The Solider Fly Larvae need surface area to work. Now I can mark the pipe and cut it off. Now I'm going to add a crutch type foot to the lower end. Once I'm happy with these angles, I'm going to use some self-tapping screws to lock them in place. Each of the fittings has holes on the side here where the pipe would be in the bracket, and that's where you put the screws. This is nice and sturdy. Now I need to determine where the trash can is going to sit so that it has the proper overhang over the collection bin. And now I'm going to add a bracket for it to sit on. And now to create the ramp. I'm going to cut an opening inside the trash can and divert them down into the catch basin. I also will need to build some kind of a wall here and here to prevent them from getting around the ramp. I'm gonna try and create that using this salvaged leftover food tray. The nice thing about this is it's thin enough that I can cut it with scissors and bendy enough that it won't just crack. I'm gonna start by creating the opening for the drop down. I'm going to go ahead and cut this all the way out. I'll build the ramp up underneath. Alright, this is a little more brittle than I thought, but I think it'll be okay. Let's see. This ramp just needs to be steep enough that they can't climb it or can't stay on it once they crawl over the top of the ledge there. They'll fall off and go right down into the bin. I'm gonna back 2 of these screws out here and then put this in and re-secure it. I changed my mind on the plastic. I think it could work. I just don't know how long it would last. So I'm actually gonna switch this material to some galvanized drip edge. Scrap that I had, and it does mean adding another tool to this job, these snips, but you can pick up a pair of these at Harbor Freight for about $8. Not too expensive and a nice tool to have around. Cutting those corners off, keep from getting cut. So part of my intuitive process of making things, that is when I'm showing you the prototype, which I am, is that I don't recognize the flaws until I come upon them. This one's got a big one. Well, something that could be fixed, but in doing so would add a lot of complexity, which I don't want to do. And that is, the catch basin is not protected. If this gets any kind of moisture in it, if rain gets in here, then the Solider Fly larvae can climb the walls. It has to stay dry or they can escape. And then the whole bin is moot. So I don't think this is a full loss. Rather than tearing this all apart now, I'm gonna finish it, because I do think it can be used as long as it's sheltered. So if it's in a carport or in a hen house or in a chicken run that is protected from the rain, then I think it'll be fine. The way I'm going to adjust it is, instead of this tall bin here, I'm going to switch it out with a litter box. That's rust, not cat poop. And so what this would do is sit inside the chicken run. The Solider Fly larvae, which tend to migrate out at night, will drop into this bin here and be waiting for the chickens in the morning when they come out of the hen house into the run. So in a sense, it would be a self-feeder, and they would eat them as they crawl out. To keep the larvae from escaping in this section right here and divert them to the drop down,
I'm gonna put in a little wall right here. I'm gonna make a template first out of this box board. Gonna add some tabs here and here. And one there too. I'm gonna cut my walls out of this plastic lunch meat box. You could also use an old pot. This is number 5 polypropylene, and it's pretty soft. And this is number 2 HDPE, high density polyethylene, also nice and soft. I can cut both of these with just some scissors. I'm gonna leave myself some tabs here and here and here, and that will go through the side of the trash can just to provide some positive stops there. All right, there are my 2 walls. I'm gonna start by cutting notches in for my 3 tabs. I want the walls to sit kind of halfway between the width of the slot here. So as the larvae come up, hit the wall and start walking this way, they'll just drop right in. At least the ones that come up the side. The ones that come up the middle will just drop down the middle. I'm going to taper this tab a little bit to help it get in that gap. May need to widen this gap just slightly. Just kind of coming in at an angle with the blade. Clean it out a little bit. Alright, the wall is in. Tabs coming through the sides. I'm going to glue these in with a combination of CA glue and hot glue. I'm going to start by using the CA glue to secure the tabs. And then I'm going to fill in the small gap that's there with some hot glue. The goal is just a nice thick bead there to help lock that in place. And now I'll do the same with the other side. Alright, the walls are in. Now I'm going to go in here with some sandpaper and just scuff up this surface a little bit. And just help the Solider Fly Larvae crawl up. Of course, I'm not going to go up the wall here because I don't want them to be able to climb this. They shouldn't be able to. They'll fall back down before they reach the top of the wall here, of course. Just a little scuff will help them out.
Alright, the last thing I need to do here is secure the trash can to the frame. And I could use some brackets and drill through with screws and lock it in place that way, but I don't want to put any holes in this because then it will drain liquid. I may eventually need some weep holes in the bottom. I'm going to try it without first and see how it does with moisture. But I don't want this loose on there because the chickens might knock it off. And if it were outside, a possum would basically pull it off and have his lunch. So I need it to be secured to this. And for that, I'm going to use an old bike inner tube. I'm going to start by attaching the inner tube to the center leg with this bracket. This hole is going to be used to attach the inner tube on the other end with this S-hook. But I think I do need to put a screw in here to hold it down. There isn't a hole there, so I'm going to use the center punch. Use the self-tapping screws. One would have probably gotten the job done, but two is twice as good. Alright, I wrapped the trash can, got my sizing, and now I'm going to put a grommet in it. I'm going to cut a flap so I can close off this end, neaten it up a little bit. Alright, it's not so tight that it crushes the trash can, but it's snug enough that I think a chicken isn't going to be able to knock it off. But I do think I need to use one clip at the bottom on the leg, and I think one screw hole won't matter. Alright, I'm going to take a shovel load of the material that I have in my bin with some larvae in it and charge this bin. That'll be enough to get this bin started. And then I'm going to go next door to my neighbor's chicken coop and install it there. Hey birds. Now that it's here, I'll make sure it's stable. I'm going to add a few pupated larvae here to let them know what's coming. We'll see if they get over here and take a look. I'm going to step out. They're scared of me. They're definitely hesitant about this contraption in their house. I don't blame them. Let's see if I can't convince them. While I'm waiting for them to decide what to do, I'm going to throw some in here and see if they'll crawl out. They're more than eager to eat them off the ground when I toss them out, but they're still unsure of reaching into that litter box. Maybe it's because they can see them all and it freaks them out a little bit. I don't know. Just give it a try. Yeah? I'm gonna try and put some bedding in there and see if covering them up. They seemed a little bit leery of getting underneath that, so slid the bin forward a little bit and lowered it down so maybe they can reach in a little more easily. I'm delving into chicken psychology here, untrained. I think the sides of that bin might be too tall. The catch bin, that is. I'm going to cut those down and try again. Alright, so I shortened the sides of the bin here. So I'll put a few in there and see if they go for it. That made the difference. I'll throw a few more out there. You can do it. Just reach in there. Catch them. Candy. There you go. Don't be scared. Just took one to get started and then they all dug in. There's one more. Let's see if they get it. And they're gone.
I'm happy with this as a prototype for a self-feeder inside a hen house or carport or somewhere where it's going to stay dry. The idea with the catch bin here is that whatever escapes from the bin at night drops down into there and then is available there for the chickens in the morning when they get out of the hen house and into the run here. I am going to continue developing this idea and see if I can't create one that protects the catch bin from the rains so it can be kept outside like I have mine currently. I need to come back tonight and see if any of these are crawling out and dropping into the bin. I am pleased that this one is a lot simpler to make than the ones that I've made in the past. Tinktube made this project nice and easy, but I'm convinced it can also be made out of wood or PVC as well. I'll put my Tinktube affiliate link in the description below if you'd like to make it out of Tinktube. As always, my mission here at Green Shorts is to help you see green so you can be green, and save a little green by doing it yourself. Composting with Solider Fly Larvae is green because you're taking your food waste, turning it into bugs that feed chickens that give you eggs. And that's completing the cycle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Saturday.